What's up, guys? Doing another Star Realms replay from yours truly, the Bachetta Rockstar. And apparently, this is going to be a series of challenge games with me and LVD. And, we're going to focus on improving your strategy as beginners to get you to level 10, get you to level 15, level 20, etc. My hair is uncombed, so no jokes about that. Let's go ahead. You can joke about it. I don't give a shit. We're playing Big Deck. It's every expansion except for missions. So that is going to affect some of the strategy coming up. So let's take a look at the game. Let's see how it goes. Oops, excuse me. Let's back that up a little bit. Here we go. Here's turn one. See if I can see what that gambit is. Oh yeah, it is that one. So it's the one that makes everything of a specific color cost one less. So, right off the bat, we've already got an interesting thought process here. You've got 3 trade. So theoretically, you could already afford orbital platform, cargo pod, or survey ship. All of those are pretty good. But she decides to use this make things cheaper, make things of a certain color cheaper to get the battle barge. So my guess is that she was watching the video that I had made for her earlier and was like, focus on damage, focus on damage. And I actually kind of like the play, to be honest with you. So if you notice, everything out here is cheap. So the likelihood of me buying something is pretty high. I have somewhere between 3 and 5 trade. And with my gambits, I could have upwards of 6 trade. So there's no reason I can't pick up 2 3 drops or pick up a 5 drop or at least a 4 drop. So the question is not necessarily what card do I want to buy for myself, but what card do I think is going to be the most effective against my opponent? And also you want to think what card is going to be the most effective against me. So I think in her mind, she looked at these 5 cards and made an assessment and said, Battle Barge is probably the worst card against me and the best card for me, so I'm going to take it. And I kind of like it. I kind of do, you know? Arguments can be made to get Survey Ship, to get Cargo Pod. A lot of people would get Orbital Platform here, but I think that card is a little overrated if you don't have something to cycle into. You're like, okay, yeah, I can get rid of my Vipers and draw a Scout, and that gives me 1 trade, theoretically, and it does cycle my deck a little bit. And in the early game, I might be able to have it stick around longer, but I don't really like it as a turn 1 play. I kind of like it as a complement to other cards. I don't necessarily like to just buy it right away like it's such a good card. It is a good card, don't get me wrong, and it's very nice for the 3 cost. But I think it gets overvalued quite a bit. Where I would say this play has a little bit of drawbacks, though, is the fact that there's 3 yellow cards out here, and you could effectively reduce them to 2. So the gambit that you have would actually be more effective on a later turn when you have more trade. So I think actually the best play here is to grab the cargo pod and then use your gambit later to try to double up on 2 good yellow cards. That being said, if you're thinking just go for damage and, say screw it, let him have the trade, I'm going to go for the throat, I think that's perfectly fine. And as the first player, that's a strategy that I advocate quite a bit. Because you're going first, you have access to cards first, and you oftentimes have access to damage first. The first player has such an advantage because he has what's called initiative, which basically means he's going to be the first one to deal damage. So very likely he's also going to be the first one to get the killing blow in. And so playing aggressively as the first player is a really good strategy. It's typically why people that play as the second player are often playing a defensive strategy because they're just put on the defensive by the sheer fact that they're going second. So it shouldn't alter your strategy completely. You know, the trade row is going to affect your strategy way more than thoughts of being first or second, but it should come into your mind that I'd like to err on the side of aggro if I'm going first versus when I'm going second. So, all in all, I realize that was a long breakdown, but there's a lot of stuff here to take in. So, ultimately, I think Cargo Pod is the correct play here. Survey Ship would be like a second best play, and then I think Orbital Platform would be the third best play. But I actually do really like getting the Battle Barge here and just going aggressive and saying, forget it. You can have all the trade you want. I'm just going to blast you with middle cards, you know? So I like the play. I do think it's a little bit of a mistake, but I like the fact that she is playing aggressively and trying to attack. I do wish she could have kept that Gambit. Now, here is where yours truly gets super lucky. So, I scrap a card that allows me to put Cargo Pod on top of my deck. So my whole plan was just to put Cargo Pod on top of my deck and get 7 to 8 trade and pick up 2 to 3 really good cards. Like, that's my thinking. And then this happens. An event pops out, which allows me to get 3 trade, which then allows me to get the Ram. So now I have 3 trade, and then I can put the Ram on top of my deck as well, and now I have one of the best starts of all time. So this is really, really incredibly bad for Miss LVD here, because what the hell do you do now? The guy now has access to a 6 and a 7 drop. He definitely has the trade for it. And you kind of used up most of your trade in the first turn buying Battle Barge, which I don't think was a large mistake, but it turns out she's going to get what I feel is unluckily punished for it. So what do you do now, though? If you're her, probably got to play a little defensively now, which sucks because you're first player. And this is where the first player disadvantage comes in, is even though you have access to your resources first, you're also hamstrung by the fact that you are 2 cards short on the first turn, which means you don't get access to 5 drops until the second turn. So, kind of tough. You got to dig yourself out of a hole now. But she does get to draw, so that's kind of nice. And picks up Orbital Platform. This is a good play. Picks up Alliance Transport. This is another good play. So I actually like what she did here. She recognized, okay, he's probably going aggro. Sorry about that. She recognized that I'm probably going aggro. And she said, okay, one of the ways I'm going to counter it is by a base and get some yellow cards and try to combo those yellow cards together. It's good. Sound strategy. I think it's a good play. If she could have afforded to get like Colony Siege Ship or Bounty Hunter, maybe that would have been a play to do too. But I think this is a good strategy. If you're going to try to counter my strategy, this is a good way to do it. Because Cargo Pod and Ram don't draw any cards. So even though they're very damaging cards, I have to draw them together. And there's no guarantee that I will. I don't have any scrappers. So in all likelihood, she's only going to be facing 4 or 5 damage in any given turn. It's rare that I'm going to combo them all together and then drop, 10 damage, 15 damage on her. So I like this play. The Orbital Platform will be able to absorb 4 damage and give her card draw. It's a good plan. If you're gonna try to counter an aggressive blob strategy, it's not a bad way to go, especially given the fact that there's only one legit healer in the Colony Siege Ship. So, not bad, not bad. You can already tell she's thinking a lot more about the game and trying to make better plays already. So I super luck out. I'm able to get Battle Blob. Now I've got a Blob deck. I've got a massive Blob deck. This is not good. And then she gets kind of unlucky here. Only has 2 trade. Decides to forego the Explorer, which is probably a good idea. I think I would have bought it. It does give you trade. It does give you damage, and maybe it allows you to get Colony Seed Ship, Bounty Hunter, Unity Station. But it's just kind of unfortunate here. So I have to toss a card, but no biggie, because I'm going to scrap the Ram and pick up the Unity Station. The Ram's done its damage. She does not have a lot of damage. I think the Unity Station is going to live for a while. And then again, here's another thing where just 4 trade only. Orbital Platform did let her draw, but it didn't really help. And she picks up the Scrapper, which I think is good, but like at 28 health, I'm not sure how much scrapping is going to help you. It's a tough decision. You're already on your heels. Um, I guess an argument could be made to go with Farm Ship, and Farm Ship maybe helps your deck a little more because you are going all yellows. Maybe you can use it to get a Peacekeeper. That would really help. Maybe you can use it to get at least the Bounty Hunter or the Colony Seed Ship. I mean, there's stuff you can do. But she's just kind of in a tough spot here. Using the Gambit might have helped as well. Maybe would allow her to get the Colony Seed Ship. So I think this is a bit of a mistake, but I don't think it's a big one. So I have 3. I get Survey Ship. No big deal. Just trying to get cycles, trying to draw into my big bad blobby cards, and fucking A. Look at this. I mean, just what are you supposed to do? Here's great. Look, picks up Peacekeeper. It's a good buy. It heals for 6. It deals for 6. This is a great card. Maybe she gets Cutter Bounty Hunter later, Cutter Colony Seed Ship later, and she can start healing up and protecting her face, and then maybe come back. Like, this is a good strategy. Like, the problem is that the odds of her winning are low, and so what you have to do is try to do the highest percentage play. Right? You're like, if I just go aggro for aggro, I'm going to lose 9 times out of 10. If I go healing and base and protection, I'm probably going to lose 75% of the time. I'm probably going to lose 3 out of 4, but that's still better than losing 9 out of 10. So you're trying to make the best play out of several bad options. But if you do pick the most likely one, that's going to up your win percentage 1 or 2 points, or 1 or 2 percentage points. That can make the difference in a lot of games. Oh wow, this. And then it's just more damage. I'm putting my foot on the pedal. I'm getting super lucky. Just more good luck. Yeah. I think she could have scrapped the Viper and grabbed the Cutter. I think that actually might have been a better play. Try to heal up, try to protect. But I also think maybe she's just trying to aggro me out, which is not, it's good. It's good. I think it's a good play too. Again, you're trying to make tough choices, and I think she's doing a pretty good job of it. And then I get lucky again. Badoop, badoop. Badoop. Oh, yellow. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Oh, no. Yeah. Whoops. So, yeah. What have we learned? Well, I got lucky. Very lucky. All my blob cards comboed. I don't even think I had any scrap, but I just top decked all the cards that I needed. So there wasn't a whole lot she could have done. Like, when somebody is running that good, you're just probably gonna lose that game. Like, That happens a lot. I think luck is probably somewhere between 25 and 35%. And, you know, if a relatively good player, and I'd like to think I'm a pretty good player, also is getting lucky, you're probably not going to win, you know. But let's give LVD a lot of credit here. I think that she actually picked a really sound, good strategy to try to come back from such a deficit. It's just in all likelihood she probably wasn't coming back. You know, this was just too tough. And this is one of those games where there's definitely stuff to learn, but don't beat yourself up over this loss. Don't sit here and think like, oh man, I made so many mistakes. Nah, you didn't. You didn't. You did lose. So you probably made mistakes somewhere. And I would say your use of gambits, the use of gambits here was probably, you know, the mistakes that were the most egregious. But come on, you know, this is one of those games you can just say, hey, look, I got unlucky. And that's going to happen, you know. If you get unlucky, you get unlucky. There's always something to learn, but don't get mad when you just lose to bad luck, you know. Because if you really break down the statistics and kind of just like, and these aren't like tough statistics, right? You know, you have 5 draws and there's 10 cards left, so the odds of hitting any one card is 50-50. And, you know, your opponent draws all their attack cards and hits you for 30, whereas if they drew all their scouts, they'd hit you for 1. Like, it's okay. It was gonna happen, you know? It was a coin flip either way. So sometimes you win those games, sometimes you lose those games. And in a case like this, like if I don't draw Ram and Battle Pod, I'm drawing a blank on the game. Whatever, the trade pod, whatever. The 3 cost blob card that gives me 3 trade, right? Like if I don't draw those 2 together and like deal 10 and get 6, 7, 8 trade at the same time and get all the, you know, get the battle blob and get the unity station and then, you know what I mean? Like if these things don't happen, if I just have normal card draw where I draw one of the blobs and get scouts and vipers and the other ones, and I'm just buying up regular middling cards, she absolutely could have come back. So the problem is when you're behind and you're trying to come back, you need your opponent to like get unlucky. Like if they're lucky initially, you need their luck to turn so that way your luck can also turn. And in this case, I just kept getting lucky. And even though I thought she did a very good strategy, you know, the likelihood of her winning was not really that high to begin with. So don't beat yourself up over this. Good game plan. I like the strategy that's being employed here. I like that she's already thinking about, okay, this has happened. How do I win? There's already, you can see, much improved strategic thinking. So, LVD, good job. Chalk this up as I got unlucky, but I am playing better. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.